man called law enforcement and said, "I witnessed the unthinkable." A few days later, that same man was charged with the heinous crime. And what investigators say they found is what turned a welfare check into one of the worst cases Midland County has seen in a long time. I'm going to walk you through this case piece by piece, the timeline, the names, the charges, and what court documents say happened that night, and the lesson sitting inside all of it. Stay with me, because the moment that flips this entire story comes later, and you need the full picture to understand it. Let's start with where we are. Midland County, North County Road 1135, not Los Angeles, not New York, right here in our own backyard.
Midland County Sheriff's deputies were first called just after 9 p.m. on Monday to a home on North County Road 1135. Arrived at the property, investigators described finding a double-wide trailer with covered windows, large dogs, trenches being dug behind it, and multiple RV spaces. Officers knocked, but no one answered. Investigators then called Ramos, who agreed to meet them but did not show up. MCSO investigators then contacted a witness, Esparza, who appeared disorganized and inconsistent, but told officers he witnessed the killing inside that trailer.
Some folks like to pretend this kind of case can't happen in West Texas. It can, it did, and the details matter. On May 11th, deputies with the Midland County Sheriff's Department responded to a welfare check at a property in that area. That's where this case opens up. A routine call, nothing about that day told those deputies what they were about to walk into. Now here's the first version of the story, the one that came from a man named Victor Esparza. Court documents say Esparza initially contacted law enforcement claiming he witnessed a killing inside a trailer home on that property. He told investigators the victim was tied up in a money dispute before the assault. According to the affidavit, here's how that night played out. A woman named Sandra Ramos allegedly picked up Esparza and the victim from a hotel and brought them to the home. Court documents say several people at the home were using and partying. Then, investigators say Ramos contacted a man through FaceTime to discuss assaulting the victim. That man is described in court documents as Crazy Joe. Authorities later identified him as Jose Luis Garcia Grimaldo. According to what's being reported, Grimaldo allegedly arrived at that home wearing a bandana, sunglasses, and a hat, a disguise. Now think about that. He didn't show up to talk. According to court documents, he showed up dressed to not be recognized. The affidavit says Esparza claimed Ramos held him at gunpoint while Grimaldo allegedly assaulted the victim while he slept. From there, court documents say the violence escalated. Esparza claimed Ramos assaulted the victim before the body was placed into a large blue-wheeled storage tote. After that, investigators say Ramos forced Esparza at gunpoint to shower, change clothes, and tried to make him help conceal what had happened. According to the affidavit, Esparza fled and contacted law enforcement. That's the witness version. Hold on to it, because the next part is where everything changes. Before we go any further, let's not forget the most important person in this case. The victim. We don't have a public name released yet as of this recording, but he was somebody's son, somebody's brother, maybe somebody's dad. He walked into that hotel that night with no idea it was the last place he'd ever leave on his own. He deserves to be remembered as more than a line in a court document, and if this name does come out, we'll update y'all on this channel. Now, before I tell you what investigators say they walked into the next day, you need to understand one thing. This wasn't a quick crime. According to court documents, this was a setup, and the property itself is going to tell you that. When investigators arrived at the property the following day, court documents describe a scene that was already disturbing on its own. Trenches dug behind the home, covered windows, several RV spaces on the property. The kind of setup that doesn't happen by accident. Inside the home, investigators reported finding a wheeled storage container and a portable air conditioning unit blowing towards it. Pots of water nearby. And when they opened the container, court documents say they discovered human remains inside. That's what turned this from a welfare check into one of the most serious investigations Midland County has seen in a long time. The affidavit says investigators learned Esparza participated in the assault. Authorities say Esparza hit and stomped the victim until he was knocked out. And court documents say Ramos and Esparza strangled the victim until he died. Read that again in your head. The man who called law enforcement and told them he was a witness, according to the affidavit, was a part of it. That's not one person doing something terrible. That's a chain of people, drugs, money, and decisions that ended with the man dead and his body hidden inside a storage tote on North County Road 1135. Now here's where the charges land. Jose Luis Garcia Grimaldo, the man known as Crazy Joe, has been charged with murder and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Sandra Ramos has been charged with first-degree murder. Her bond is reported at $2 million. Victor Esparza, the man who originally called law enforcement, has been charged with first-degree murder. His bond is also reported at $2 million. 3 people, 3 sets of charges, 1 victim, 1 trailer. Let me ask y'all something right now. If a property like this was sitting down the road from your house, trenches behind it, covered windows, RVs full of people who don't seem to live there, vehicles in and out at 3 in the morning, would you have said something before it got this far? Drop it in the comments while we keep going, and be honest. Now let me address what some folks are going to say. They're going to say these are still allegations. They're going to say the system needs to play out. They're going to say everybody deserves their day in court, and legally, they're right. These charges have yet to be proven, the evidence has to hold up, and the jury has to decide. But here's the part I'm not going to soften. If the state can prove what these affidavits describe, this isn't a case for a slap on the wrist. This is a case for serious prison time, the kind of consequence that fits the weight of what happened to that victim. Here's the bigger thing I want you to walk away with. Some folks in Midland still think we're immune. They think the drug problem is someone else's problem. They think houses are tucked away where decent people don't have to deal with them. They're wrong. The same ingredients create the same outcome in every zip code in West Texas. Hard substances, money disputes, party houses, trap houses, people up for days at a time, paranoia, weapons, and eventually violence. That's what drugs do. They just don't hurt the person using them. They brought the entire environment around them. They turn neighbors into suspects. They turn trailers into crime scenes. They turn a welfare check into a homicide investigation. And the speed of it is what should scare you. 1 minute is just a bunch of people partying. The next minute, according to court documents, somebody's getting assaulted in their sleep. 1 minute is just drama. The next minute, a man is dead, and the people around him are trying to figure out who tells what story first. Here's what I want every person in Midland to hear right now. The signs of a house like this aren't hidden. You just got to know what to look for. And we all know. Covered windows in the middle of a West Texas summer, RV spaces filled with people who don't seem to actually live there. Quite the norm, ain't it? And vehicles coming in and going at 3 in the morning. Digging for trenches in places that don't make sense. People living there who never seem to step outside in daylight. Vampire life for sure. If you see it, you call it in. Not because you're nosy, because the next welfare check could save a life, save a name, save a family from getting the worst phone call of their lives. Midland, Texas cannot normalize this. We can't shrug it and scroll past it. We can't act like this is another headline that hits the feed and disappears by morning. Because the moment we accept it, it grows. The moment we look away, the next trailer becomes the next scene. A man lost his life on North County Road 1135. He had a name. He had people who knew him. He had a story that didn't deserve to end like this. He deserves a community that takes this seriously, not one that forgets him by next week. If you have any information related to this case, contact the Midland County Sheriff's Department. Tips can be anonymous. Everything I just walked you through comes from court affidavits, statements from the Midland County Sheriff's Department, and local reporting. These are allegations until proven in court, but the documents tell the story they tell. So here's what I'm asking from you. Share this video to somebody in Midland who needs to see it. Comment below with the part of this case that hits you the hardest. And be straight up. Are we doing enough in West Texas to deal with the drug problem before it ends in another scene like this one? I think we all know the answer. I'll keep covering cases like this that hit close to home, the ones that matter, the ones that some folks would rather scroll past. I'm Nino America, justice for the forgotten and safety for the rest. God bless.